Welcome to the MLFF podcast with your host, Commissioner B. Jack.
Welcome into episode 5. The first round of divisional games are finally complete, and until the final round of division games starts in week 11, we'll be facing off against the rest of the league. In our league, where the 4 division winners and 2 wildcards make up the 6 teams in the playoffs, these non-division games are critical for teams that do not appear likely to win their division. Looking at you, Cody and Jose. The outcomes of these games will be the primary factor in determining wildcard seeding, as head-to-head record is the first tiebreaker considered. I'm still working on formatting a league transactions page, and maybe it'll be done next week. So without further ado,
let's go! We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Spencer defeats Gardo by a 4-point margin, the narrowest victory of the week and Spencer's second win in a row.
He's heating up!
Both managers set 99% optimal lineups in a heartbreaking loss for Gardo to keep him winless on the season. Spencer got 30 from Mahomes, who rebounded from a couple mediocre performances, as well as 25 from CEH against an allegedly tough Buccaneers run defense. Also, J.K. Dobbins with a solid 24 points in his second game back from injury looks like he was worth the wait. Lackluster days from Devonta Smith and Josh Palmer hurt Spencer's lineup, but Albert Okwuegbunam's goose egg nearly cost him the matchup. Gardo's points came from his wide receivers, with Hill, Higgins, and Metcalf combining for 69 points.
Nice.
60% of his total. Zeke, Hunt, Edmonds, and Mandrews all underwhelmed, but Matthew Stafford cost Gardo the matchup. Needing only 11 points going into Monday night, he watched in horror as Stafford threw a pick 6 late in the fourth quarter.
No, God!
Lost a fumble on a sack the next drive.
No, God, please, no!
And finished the game having thrown no touchdowns.
No!
His final stat line was 254 passing yards, 6 rushing yards with 1 interception and a lost fumble for a grand total of 6.76 points.
No!
The salt in the wound is that Gardo was actually starting Jared Goff until Thursday, when he dropped him in favor of Deshaun Watson, only for Goff to put up the most fantasy points on the week. Gardo remains in last place, while Spencer improves 1 spot to 4th, remaining atop the North Division. Timmy defeats John by 15 points to secure his first win on the season. Timmy set an 83% optimal lineup, while John set a 91% optimal lineup. John's 79 points was the lowest score on the week.
I shit myself.
And ranks at 61 for the least points scored all time. We've now seen complete unpredictability in John's range of outcomes, spanning from nuclear to steaming shit. With Kamara and the Sun God ruled out, Protestant McCaffrey and the Niners defense combined for 44 points, 56% of John's total, while Lamar struggled against a defense that some deem worthy of a 7th-round draft pick, and the remaining 6 players on his starting lineup combined for a measly 18 points. Patterson put up 11 but left with a knee injury, and Carr, Deontay Kittle, and the Rams defense all underperformed. But Joe Mixon, Olave Garden, and Zach Ertz led TV to victory. Thankfully, he's also rostering CP's handcuff in Tyler Algier, who saw a moderate uptick in usage after Patterson left the game. Timmy moves up to 10th place, John falls 5 spots to 7th and slips out of 1st in the South Division. Dantos defeats Jake by 17 points with a 97% optimal lineup to Jake's 94%. It's Dantos' 3rd win in a row.
He's on fire!
Josh Jacobs led the way with 38 points as the RB1 on the week, and Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, and Gerald Everett put up 28, 25, and 16 points respectively. Rashad Bateman had a rough week, but was the only suboptimal player in Dan's lineup. Diggs, Robinson, and Brandon Ayukin all struggled for Jake this week, but Chubb had a solid 23, Brees Lightning had a modest 17, and TJ Hockley threw down a monstrous 39 points. That was obviously good for tight end 1 on the week, but also the 2nd highest fantasy output across all positions, only to his quarterback, Jared Goff. Jake kept it close, but ultimately never held the lead in this one. With this win, Dantos jumps to 3rd place and seizes 1st place in the East Division from Jake, who drops down to 6th place. Brian defeats Jose by 43 points with a 96% optimal lineup to remain undefeated.
Boom shakalaka!
Jose played a 93% optimal lineup in his 3rd consecutive loss. With the exception of Deebo Samuel, all of Jose's receivers struggled, including his bench options. Jamison Crowder also broke his ankle and is likely irrelevant for the remainder of the 2022 fantasy football season. The Cowboys defense put up 10 and Aaron Jones scraped together 17, but the GOAT finished the week with 31 points as the QB4 by seemingly only targeting Mike Evans and nobody else. Quan Bart keeps chugging along, and Dameon Pierce ripped off a 75-yard touchdown to contribute to his 24-point performance, while Poopy Cuck put up 24 of his own on 19 targets, and Freiermuth was good for 15. Hurts put up a pedestrian day, in a downpour, and the Saints D underperformed against the Vikings in London, but Not Jesus looked more like Not Joseph with only 8 points this week. I remain atop the West Division and also in first place, while Jose drops 1 spot to 11th. T-Bear defeats Ben by 69.
Nice.
Wording it that way makes it sound like an MMA bout, where T-Bear used 69 as his submission of choice. T-Bear set a near-perfect lineup at 99.7% to Ben's 92 in his third consecutive loss. Playing Dallas Goedert over Hayden Hurst was the only suboptimal choice by T-Bear, but the difference was only half a point. Eckler and Jefferson rediscovered themselves, putting up 34 and 29 points en route to becoming the overall number 2 on the week at their respective positions, and Rashad Penny threw up 32 against Detroit. Dalvin Cook and his device only managed 11 points in London, while the Bills' defense put up 1 point for every round they went undrafted. Jonathan Taylor put up 4 points before leaving the game with an ankle injury, but Jalen Waddle and Garrett Wilson were afterthoughts. Herbert, Ramondre, A.J. Brown, and the Hig Beaver had modest showings, but nowhere near enough points to make it close. Judge Judy had 14 bench points, but it would not have mattered. Javonte Williams shredded his knee and will now miss the rest of the season. Rhino defeats Cody by an 87-point margin that is the blowout of the week and was just 2 points shy of becoming the new blowout of the year. Rhino put up nearly double Cody's points with 179, good for 25th most all-time, and the blowout ranks as the 9th largest all-time. Cody played a 79% optimal lineup, the least optimal on the week, and Rhino's lineup was 88% optimal. It could have been a lot worse for Cody, with Miles Sanders leaving 33 points on Rhino's bench. Just a side note for FanDuel players, if you're ever considering putting Miles Sanders in your DFS lineup, just give a quick look at Rhino's roster and do the opposite of whatever he's doing. Sanders averages 9 points a game when Rhino starts him, but 26 points a game when Rhino benches him. But Rhino also started the wide receiver 1, 9, and 10 on the week in Evans, Lamb, and Hollywood Brown, the running back 5 in Jamal Williams, the QB 6 in Kyler, and the number 3 defense in the New York Giants. Robert Blumentunyon did not finish as a top 12 tight end, but still had 10 points. Cody's trouble started on Thursday night when Tua suffered his second back injury in 5 days and was forced out of the game with only 2.4 points. Travis Kelce had 24 as the TE3 on the week, and Devontae Adams put up a casual 17 points, but it only went downhill from there, as Michael Pittman, Drake London, and Curtis Samuel all sucked a fat one. Lazard had 17 inconsequential points on the bench, but there's a silver lining for Cody, though, as he currently rosters Melvin Gordon, who figures to be the primary back in Denver now that Javonte Williams' season is over. Rhino climbs 4 spots to 5th place, and Cody moves down 4 spots to 8th. In the fallout of the Javonte Williams and Jonathan Taylor injuries, we have our first trade of the season between myself and Ben. Ben gets a much-needed starting running back and some Jonathan Taylor insurance, while I get another stable wide receiver. It also forms a stack with my quarterback, Jalen Hurts. I'm working on having a clean formatted version of the rest of the league transactions for next week. 4-0 Brian versus 2-2 John. I am a dominant 7-2 against John and favored by 25 points, which is the widest projected margin this week. I beat John in week 12 of last year by less than a point. John needs to hope that Kamara and the Sun God are healthy this week. 0-4 Gardo versus 1-3 Ben. Ben leads the head-to-head series 2-0 versus Gardo, but a 14-point underdog against him this week. We last met in round 1 of the consolation bracket, where Ben beat Gardo by nearly 100 points. Both managers trying desperately to snap losing streaks. One has to end. 3-1 T-Bear versus 3-1 Dantos. Second place versus third place. Both managers at 3-1, and with the highest combined projected point total, this is the game of the week. T-Bear is favored by 13 here, but head-to-head they are dead even at 4 wins apiece, with Dantos winning their last matchup by 20 points in week 12. This matchup may hinge on whether Eckler or Jacobs can keep their momentum going. 2-2 Jake versus 2-2 Rhino. Jake is 2-3 against Rhino, but a 7-point favorite here. Jake also beat Rhino in their last meeting by nearly 60 in week 12. The momentum appears to be on Jake's side, but will it continue to be? And if it isn't, will Jake quit the league? Only time will tell. 2-2 Cody versus 3-1 Spencer. Spencer is 4-3 against Cody, but a 3-point dog this week. Cody beat Spencer by 52 when they last met, week 12 of last year. Spencer has some good matchups here and is poised for the upset. 1-3 Timmy versus 1-3 Jose. With a margin of only 0.36 points, this is the tightest projected margin of the week. Both managers at 1-3, but Timmy is coming fresh off his first win, and Jose is trying desperately to stop a 3-game skid. Jose has the edge all time, 5-4, but lost to Timmy by nearly 40 the last time they met in week 11. Jose needs DeAndre Swift back to have a shot at winning here. League payout standings. John still narrowly owns the blowout of the year. He also still leads in most blowouts, but now Rhino is tied with Cody for second place with 1 apiece. John also continues to lead the league pick'em.
Look at this shit.
That is it. The trading deadline is Tuesday, November 22nd, 48 days away. Playoffs start week 15, that is 72 days away. Do not forget to submit your weekly pick'em. The link to the form can be found in the commissioner's note and also as a pinned comment in the Discord server. You are welcome. Eat shit.
Thank you for listening to the MLFF podcast.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live! And thing sucks!